What's happening? What it is, what it looked like, and all things in between. What's happening, people? What is happening? I'm getting it together as we speak. Just gathering my notes, and we'll be ready to rock and roll. You just got, I keep talking about all that gear. I just got, hey man, listen, I guess your pockets are deeper than mine, brother. But it's all good. I'm glad you're enjoying it. I'm glad you're getting some good use out of it as well. Yeah, but it's all good. I'm glad that you are here. You know, Nothing is without its difficulties in terms of the technical aspect of getting these live streams going. But nevertheless, I'm here. So let's take a quorum. We got Shazam. And we got Mr. Smooth. Finally, I get to watch another live stream. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's all good, man. We're going to cover some stuff today. I didn't realize that the live stream last week was going to hit like a sledgehammer like it did. But it resonated with quite a few people. And folks that are actual, like in the case of Shazam, and there was another brother that reached out to me, David Vignola, I think. I forget the name of his channel. He reached out. He just bought a Origin console. So yeah, a lot. We're in agreement that SSL is onto something in terms of reaching a certain base of people early on, and that's what we're gonna pretty much pick up off of. I like you, Shazam. I'm not familiar with SSL interfaces on that level, and I just wanted to see what the build quality was. So I'm picking up on that. If I'm telling people that it's a good place to start, and if most kids want to be like CLA as their idol, if that's their guy, then let's see if this equipment as a jumping point is a good place to start. So without further ado, as they say, Mr. Reyes finally caught a live stream. Okay, I'm glad you are here, brother. Listen, I appreciate each and every one of you. I value your time. I'm a stickler for time. The only reason why I was caught up, being late today was because of the whole technical aspect with streaming. It seems like YouTube would build a streaming software right into their platform. I guess that's on the horizon, but it's just when you got to go through several pieces of software to get one thing done, it becomes, and that's part of what we're going to talk about today too. That's part of the issue. You got to jump through this hoop, through that hoop, through the third hoop just to get one thing done. And who wants to do that? So it's all good. Mr. Pirate Brain, yo, what's up, man? What's going on? What's going on? Yeah, I'm gonna take y'all on a trip down memory lane. I was trying to find I'll have to link in the description to an unboxing that I did some time ago of an Audio Media 3 card. It ties into today's discussion, if you will. And we got DJ MVP. Yo, what's up, man? Where you been? Y'all been hiding. It's good to see you here, though, man. Yeah, man, it's all good. Okay. What? I love my SSL Plus, but I sent it back because I wanted the audience. Okay. Yeah, that's what we're talking about, workflow. If it, doesn't work for you, it doesn't work for you. It doesn't necessarily make the equipment bad. It just means that, hey, man, this is becoming a hurdle for me to go through, and when time turns into money, you ain't got no time to be trying to figure stuff out. So I do understand. All right. So without further ado, let's jump right into it. Let's start by saying this. I was just thinking about the whole discussion last week. Why SSL would introduce such a we talked about why SSL would introduce such a nice piece of gear in the UC1, as well as the UF8 controller, and it looks, stellar. I mean, you can't, like I said, you can't say that these people don't put out quality gear. You can't say that. SSL, they've been building consoles since the day of the flood, and they do know what they're doing. But being that a lot of I look at my demographics in my analytics, and I see who's watching. I know who's watching. I know where you're watching from, et cetera, et cetera. And the demographic that I'm talking to are people that are probably right out of college. I would say in the 25, 23, if you graduate with a master's degree, 25 years old, to and through to 44 years old. So it's a pretty wide demo, if you will. And if you spent any duration of time doing this, you already know that those are the times, the age of 25 to about maybe 45, that's when you start to really, I guess, get going in your career. At least for me, that's how it happened for me. In 25, I was 23, 22. I was working a lot with Dana and Jerry and these people. They were already. Jerry was a founding member of Take Six. Dana was an up and coming producer out of Nashville in New York. They were getting started in their careers. I was pretty much, further along in doing certain other aspects, audio arranging wise. So I folded into that little clique early on, and we were in our 20s at the time. Advanced on to the 30s. I started a label, etc. 40s, I'm busy. That's when I got my first Dove nomination, and then here I am, in my 50s, and teaching. I mean, that seems to be what one would do in terms of their career. So I know who's watching. In other words, and I know where you stand and what you might have opinions about, but this information is geared more towards the individual who is trying to grab a hold of what's not just what's next, but what's best for me in doing a job for a client. That's important. If you're a carpenter, you ain't going to use a plumber's pipe wrench to go hammering nails into the wall. It's going to slow you down. You got the wrong tool for the job. These are facts. So those who are starting out need to have a base of operation, if you will. And I'm going to take you down a trip down memory lane, if you will, and start by saying this. Everybody starts at the beginning, okay? But some begin with the end game in mind. What am I talking about? I'm talking about this. This is a picture of a company's product called Creamware, is the name of the company. They were the early adopters of using Sharp chips as onboard DSP for audio. Now, great idea, great function. This is a product that I bought early in the 90s. It was very, very expensive at the time. I think I paid $2,000 for the system. And very short-lived. Early on, I saw where I can't say I was clairvoyant. I'm not clairvoyant, but when things are going to happen a particular way. The only other people that were using onboard DSP chips at the time were DigiDesign in their Mix Plus systems. And that was all the time TDM type of systems. Any of you who have used Pro Tools for any duration of time know what I'm talking about. Anyway, I went to the store and I purchased this. This is a picture of the actual cart. Same thing. You can see. And ironically, I dug it up out of a crypt, looked like, right? And here's the software that I used to install it. went there with that in mind. I was like, I went to Sam Ash to buy Pro Tools. Okay, I went to buy a Pro Tools system. Okay, it was going to be an audio media system. And the guy was like, listen, man, I got the next best thing, this thing called Triple Deck by a German company called Creamware onboard DSP. And there is no other system on the market right now that does that. And I was like, oh, wow. You know, for PC, I was using Logic at the time. And I was like, okay, well, I'm all in on this whole PC system, so I might as well get this as well. Long story short, Creamware and Triple Deck became defunct. They sold the company, and I wound up going back to buy the audio media system. Why am I saying all of this? Like I said, everybody starts somewhere, and I thought the end game would be with a company like Creamware that had the technology, but they just didn't have the money to play the long game. So, with that in mind, if a workflow you're comfortable with is the end game, then where you start matters. I'm going to say that again. If a workflow you're comfortable with is the end game, then where you start matters. I needed to move quick because I'm working with these guys, Dana and Jerry, and you know, we're doing different things, and we're doing paying jobs, mind you. So I knew that as much as I wanted to try something new, I knew that I needed at the time Pro Tools. Pro Tools had just two windows, mix and edit. Mix and edit. Creamware and Triple Deck, as good as it was, and trust me, it was very good with the onboard DSP. You know, actually, I had a chance to talk to the people at the company at the time, and they used my quote in on their website when I said that it was like having Sonic Solutions. Anybody who's been around for a while know what I'm talking about. The company Sonic Solutions was a dominant force in mastering. It was like having Sonic Solutions at a fifth of the cost, you know. So what if the end game is to have a workflow you're comfortable with, if you're working, then like I said, where you start matters. Where you start will always matter. It'll dictate how quick you could get that job done. It'll dictate how quickly you will be rehired if you came in under budget. Sometimes, you know, you may lay out a large amount of money, but it'll be wasted money because it's going to become inhibitive to your workflow. So with that in mind, I'm going to go right. I'm not going to keep you guys too long. We're talking about solid state logic. Last week we talked about the effect of CLA on their product in terms of outreach, in terms of reaching the young people, in terms of reaching the consumer at every price point. I wanted to see this week, okay, well, if they're starting with the most simplest of interfaces, well, plugins and interfaces, all the way to and through to consoles, just how effective their product is. Is it well made? I have no idea. I will be unboxing this with you all. All I can tell you is that it looks kind of cute on paper. Now, again, workflow. We're talking about workflow. Everybody, if you're starting here with this particular unit, you know good and well, every time if you advance in your career and you get a chance to go to an SSL room, what are you going to look for? You're going to look for that blue knob. You are going to look for that blue knob to be on that console. The color coding on it is for a reason. You know what I mean? You will become familiar with this ecosystem based on what they're presenting to you at a most fundamental level. You will become familiar with this ecosystem based on what they are giving you at the most fundamental level. There's not more than 3 knobs on this, well, 4 with the gray. But if I can get you, I mean, I'm talking if I'm SSL, if I can get you to understand how to be in my ecosystem at the most fundamental level, that will burn into your long-term memory each and every time you get a job and you want to move as quickly as possible because you're already familiar with how to get around that equipment. Okay, so let's look at some comments real quick, and then we're going to get into the unboxing. That's my long story short in terms of me trying to get ahead of the curve. Now, when you think about it, those Shark chips that I'm reflecting, the Shark chips that they had on the Creamware hardware, who's using that now? All companies, from Universal Audio to and through to Lynx. They're all using that. They were just early adopters without deep enough pockets to play the long game. They would have almost have been a much or on par in terms of equipment and product offered, on par with like a Universal Audio. You know what I mean? So, like I said last week, as a company, you got to have deep pockets to play that marketing game. You got to know who your demographic is. You have to know who the consumer is, and you have to be able to reach them at each and every price point. And let's see exactly whether or not I'm going to unbox with you in a minute. Turn this fan off for me. I'm going to unbox it in a minute, but I think, like I said, I think they're onto something. I really do think Solid State Logic is onto something. So I'm going to go from the bottom up with John 415. What's up, brother? Good to see you here. Clip Wilson. Good afternoon, my brother. B. Smith. Oh, yo, everybody coming out today. Okay. Let's go and look at this. DJ MVP says, if I approve, well, listen, I'm gonna be honest with you. This is DJ MVP. He said if that is SSL and is Warren's approved, then you know it's a good product. Well, I'm opening it for the first time. A Solid State Logic console is not my favorite. I mean, just for the character of the sound. It's great for pop music. It's great for more contemporary type music. But because I'm an acoustic and a jazz player, I pretty much prefer something with a little bit more color and a little bit more body, and that being Neve. Not to mention, again, if where you're starting determines, what you like in your workflow and in your career, then that's where I started. I mean, that's what I'm most familiar with. That's what I love the most is the Neve sound. So, to that point, Jason Martin, what's up, brother? And let's just take a few more. Quaddy G. I invested in an AMS Neve and Apollo 8XP, and I came from a Focusrite 2i2. Oh, good, man. Good for you, brother. Good for you. Yes. Am I a Neve person? Yes. I do prefer Neve, like I said, because I do more acoustic music than electronic, if you will. Certain things lend themselves well to certain genres of music. Like, I know SSL has that VHD technology where you can have second and third order harmonics added to your signal. I heard it. It's cute, but it's not for me. It's a great idea if you understand harmonics from a musical perspective. You understand what second, third order harmonics can do to a particular tone. But to me, it's for the average person who's going to use it, it becomes gimmicky. Like, who's liable or apt to use that type of technology is a person who wants to hear something driven that hard into the second and third order. That would be people who like distorted guitars or want a fat dance track type bass, and they need that harmonic that's going to give that sub bass its girth and body. So it's a technology that you have to be familiar with. Okay, how am I going to use it? Or is it just for the average person a gimmick? Because you would have to know something about harmonics from a musical perspective, because all tones produce a second, third, and fourth order harmonic. You know what I mean? So if you're understanding that from a musical perspective, an A440, you double the A440 to 880, that is the first in order of a harmonic of that A440 tone, which is concert pitch. I'm getting deep and probably a little off topic, but my point is that, when they start playing with technology on that level, it becomes, for some who don't know what the end purpose of using a harmonic, it becomes a gimmick. So I know that the VH in this, looks good on paper. Again, for some it may work, depending on the genre of music that you like. One other thing I would say about buying equipment, do yourselves the favor, and whenever you buy something, see, gone are the days of, and I'm in a situation where, again, I can't talk about a project that I'm involved in for legal reasons, but where gone are the days where you would have a pro audio shop that you could go to, sit down, and spend time with the equipment you're thinking about dropping major dollars on. Those days are gone. Sweetwater is the dominant force out there, Westlake and Vintage King. So if you're buying a console, you got to sit behind that console, man. You got to go into an environment that's acoustically treated and listen critically. Ain't nobody going to be dropping crazy money like that and then turn around, oh, snap, you get it installed in your spot. And it's like, yo, this is not exactly what I thought it was going to be. Who going to pull up a 300-pound console out, rebox it, send it? You can't. So gone are those days. So, let the buyer beware. Even with the simplest of systems, buy it, become familiar with it, love it, install it, work with it, become proficient at it, and it will serve you well in your career. So let's look at some more comments, and then I'm going to get to the opening of it. Okay, so Sean Holiday, thinking about getting one of these for mobile. I don't know. I picked up the box, man. The box got some weight. Weight is good. Weight is good. So let's see in a minute. Let's see Ray Manuel. Yo, what's up, brother? Okay, Cornelius. Although I'm new to the game, I invested in the UAD. Yet SSL has piqued my curiosity. I need to learn what I have at the moment. I did a live stream about universal audio, and I'm going to say this, and I don't know how old you are, but if you're just getting in, and if you're trying to advance or do any level of professional work, you got to go with what everybody's using. That's why I was in early. I've been on Pro Tools since version 3, okay? Because Digi got to the game early with Sound Tools, okay? And then came their first Pro Tools Session 8 system, and then they started out with multi-track with the Mix Plus and other TDM systems. But if most studios are using Brand X, and Brand X is offered to you at the ground level, you got to go with Brand X. You don't want to become, listen, I had a guy, I'm getting a little off top, but I got to share this stuff with you. I had a producer who used to come through, right? And they were good clients, don't get me wrong, good clients, but he, effing Pro Tools, this effing Pro, F. He was a Pro Tools hater. I don't know, I guess Pro Tools and his mama must have had an argument or something, and it went awry, and he was like, always F Pro Tools, F that. All right, cool, no problem. So, every time I work, now they on they dime, but every time this guy, yo, I'm coming by, I got some tracks I need to do, and we gonna do vocals. Every time he wanted to work, his workflow was this: I'm doing all my tracks in Reason. I'm going to record 4 bars of just dead space at the beginning of the track, bump everything back that was recorded by 4 bars, and then I'll send you all of the individual tracks broken out. And I had to manually pull in each and every one of those tracks because our systems were incompatible. Think about it. Time is money. Now, you wanna work like that, you paying the bill. I'm all right with it. But I think it's an absolute waste of both time and his money. But, who am I? So, I probably went off and on a bit of a tangent, But the point being, you got to get with a system that you know is going to work and be compatible with each and every person. If you music is a collaborative thing, y'all. It's collaborative. If Pookie and them, James, Willie, and everybody else is all on UAD stuff, and you got triple that, you're going to be standing in the background going to get coffee and sandwiches for everybody. Why? Because your stuff is incompatible. Be smart in your career. Be smart. Don't waste time. I wasted time and money. I went back and bought a audio media system, which at the time was, I think, $1,000. I wound up paying $2,000 to pay another $1,000. $3,000 wasted, young and dumb. So don't be a fool. If you know that the industry is moving in a particular direction, and you can see what UAD is doing, they are fully vested. Look at Solid State Logic. They are fully vested. You go out and you buy this, you Xing yourself out of the game. You just you benching yourself. So don't be a fool. Be smart. Like I said, where you start determines where you're going. You got to be compatible if you're doing any type of professional work. So keeping those things in mind. I'm new to the year. Okay. All right. What to do? Okay. Quantity. I'm stuck between my next purchase for a master bus compressor. SSL Fusion. Okay. Armando, what's up, brother? Okay, and okay. I'm just reading the comments. The new voice. What's up? Okay, Cornelius, here's a good one. Music is not my job, but a serious hobby. And that's okay. That's fine. That's fine. You are the exception to the rule in that you can have your own personal ecosystem that you're working in. It could be that. You know what I mean? You're not having people come through with particular demands and deadlines. So it's fine to dabble, it's fine to dabble when you're doing it for fun, and it's fine to dabble if it's not serious for you, as a youngster. Those things are okay. In my case, I'm trying to get ahead of the what if curve when I was younger, and meanwhile I was working professionally. And you come bringing tools to the game that don't work for everybody. It's like, well, what am I do with this? What am I gonna do with that? Yeah, go do me a favor. Go get the sandwiches and the coffee for everybody, because that's useless right now. We can't use that. Then they're gonna use what they're familiar with. I'm just giving you the real. That's all. All right. So let's get one more comment in. I purchased the UAD recording. Has been fun. Plugins, awesome. Yeah, with so many ways to use them. True. All right, so listen. I ain't gonna keep you long. A brother has been blabbing. I gotta keep an eye on the clock, I've been get up here and start blabbing. Be like, the dude is long-winded, man. Long-winded. Got story on top of story. You don't realize how many stories you got until you start telling them, you know what I mean? Trusty Studio, UAD plus Apple equal. Yeah, man. But we're talking today about the SSL ecosystem, and we're going to unbox this thing right here. So, without further ado, my first time, your first time, I can tell you they started out right, because at the end they got Pro Tools first. So they know who they trying to grab a hold of. I'm going to open it. The box does have some weight. Let's go through. And opened it. Looks kind of cute. Let's take out. Quick start guide. All right. Quick start guide. Let's get you quick. Get you going. Can I hear anything? Okay. No, they get you started correct. So here's a quick start guide. Very simply laid out. Cables, USB-Cs. Regular USB for the regular USB user. And here it is in all of its glory. Drop the box right here. The SSL 2. It's got some weight. I'm going to do a test later. I want to see because, you know, their direct competition for this particular product, I would imagine, are the Focusrite interfaces. I'm not sure. I think the Personus has a similarly priced interface, but SSL got the name. You know, you could have, but they got the name. So they like, you know, we know what it is. It feels like it's got some weight, and they let you know that it was manufactured in China, but it was sourced and designed in the UK. So you could trust that it was well designed and well made. So let's open it up. See what's going on. And I'm going to tell you what I'm looking for. I'm looking for the quality of the jacks used, whether or not the knobs feel sturdy when I turn them or flimsy. Because if something is flimsily made like that, then you're going to have problems with it in the future in terms of, you know, wear and tear. Like if you're a guy that likes to turn the knobs constantly. Oh, it's, all right. There we go, people. Not too shabby. Nice looking. Monitor knob feels real sturdy, man. You know, listen, if I want to compare it to something, this monitor knob, that Personus monitor station that I have, does not feel nearly as certain as this. You know, there's no play when I jiggle it. No play when I jiggle. It's a family channel. No play when I, you know, give us a good turn or two. 4. Sturdy, man. The pots look like they use very good pots. You know. Well, this little button feels a little on the iffy side. You know. Yeah, it does feel a little on the iffy side here, but I guess that's to be expected, you know. Considering I don't think you have that much distance in terms of putting a quality component right here. But pots, you know, when you're installing a pot, it could be a small but very good one. To be able to tell you what components they use on the inside, I would have to open it, and I would need looks like Torx screws. I think these are Torx. I don't think they're Phillips. But you know, initial impressions, it looks good. The footprint is small. Let's see what type of connectors they're using on the back. Neutrik combi jacks on the back, so quality, you know, connectors there. And it's a nice layout, a nice design too. I gotta say that. That blue knob, man, you know, you're gonna become familiar with it. And for the couple of $100 you're gonna spend, it's not that bad. You know, I don't know how it sounds. I have the Focusrite 2i4 interface, which what I'm going to do is run some audio through both and just compare straight out. You all know how I do. I'm going to make sure that I find where -18 pops up on Pro Tools and where 0 is on their preamps to see. I'm a feed a tone, and you know, on both, and then I'll post that audio and let you know what I came up with, how it sounds. I think, like I said, for the money, you're getting into a good ecosystem to start out with. It feels solid in terms of weight. You know, you could tell when something's made well. Okay, you could tell. And the components, good components, do carry a lot of weight. So I could tell you that the componentry on the inside is probably the best of the best. And the layout is great. It's simple to understand. Channel 1, channel 2. You know, so they're pulling you into the SSL ecosystem quite well. Kudos, SSL. Kudos. You know, but this feels very, very much. Even I'm gonna go out on a limb and say the quality of the build is even better than the Focusrite. You know, and that was one of my criticisms with the Heritage as well. When stuff starts to feel jiggly, and you know you're going to be constantly putting wear and tear on it, it's going to fail because of the component that's used or how the component is mounted to the circuit board. All right, so that's important to me, you know. But for all intents and purposes, this is a good jumping point, and it invites you in a very, very cool manner into the SSL family. So let's look at some questions real quick. I'll continue to hold this. Rodney D. Rep at Sweetwater said it's not the components as the actual SSL console, but I've heard it and it sounds pretty good. Okay, Rodney, I'm gonna tell you, man, you gotta take people who is just selling equipment, what they say with a grain of salt. B. I'm gonna tell you straight up, because the only way to know is to open it up. The only way to become familiar with the components on the inside is to open it up, look at it. If it's whack ABCD component and you know that Texas Instruments and Nishanon make the better quality component, there ain't but one way to tell. You know, you gotta lift the lid up and look under the lid. You know, they'll say things to sell equipment, you know. And that's what I'm saying. I'm using my earlier example. This guy tells me, "Oh yeah, triple that is the future." What did I want? Two grand spent, wasted, because it's not with my work. It doesn't work for my workflow. And then I turn around and go back and buy what? Pro Tools. So yeah, maybe, you know, I'm gonna put it to you this way. Because you can source components on the cheap, Warm Audio has mastered this, economies of scale. I would believe that because Solid State Logic has the money to do it, they did the same. This is not a cheaply made piece of equipment, you know. And for him to have told you that the components are not the same, he would have had to open it up. So I doubt that he knows what he's talking about on that level. And that's no disrespect, you know, before I start getting hate mail from people again. It's no disrespect. It's fact. You got to open it up, look at it and say, yo, I looked at it and yo, that's absolutely no good. It's like comparing Golden Age preamps to a Neve. I opened up the Golden Age, which crapped out on me on a gig, a client gig no less. And I vowed never again, because I opened it up. I was like, oh my Lord and Savior, what is this? It was the worst components you've ever seen used. So to that point, take what they say with a grain of salt. Make sure you buy it with a 30-day return. Look at it. If it works for you and it sounds great, it's good for you. I'm saying my point today is get into an ecosystem that's going to benefit you in your career. SSL is a good jumping point. Universal Audio is a great jumping point. Some of the other brands, if you're doing it as a hobby, maybe, you know, but chances are when you go into commercial spaces, you're going to find the familiar. They're familiar. Solid State Logic is the familiar. If you go to the Power Station or the Hit Factory, which once was both, you know, or Avatars they call it, you know, you're gonna find what's familiar. That being Solid State Logic. So let's go and look at some questions. Okay. I'm going to say this is Mr. Smooth. I'm going to say this whole converter argument is subjective. Yes, get the great sound in the front end, and the talent, and the rest is records. I'm trying to not to get caught up in that. But, you know, people do. People do. You know, people do. I mean, I don't know why they're thinking that if I go out and buy brand this or if I buy this microphone, it's going to make my... And I was once there. Don't get me wrong. And it gets down to skill. You know, what can you do with the 12 tones on the piano, you know, or the 12 tones of music, you know, and if you don't have good enough facility from that perspective, then you're going to struggle. I don't care what you want. You could be on a duality. but somebody wound up going in their kitchen and turning out a hit on that. And it's like, well, what did I miss here? You didn't miss anything. You just don't have the skill yet. I was there once upon a time. That's why I sat at the feet of Dana. I sat at the feet of Jerry and learned. I went to music school and learned, sat at the feet of someone like a Steven Jablonski. You got to empty your cup in order for it to be filled. And when it's being filled, it has to be filled properly so that you can turn around and service people well. It's that simple. I don't care. You service them with a Radio Shack mic. If a person can sing, you're going to sound like yourself if you're on Radio Shack or Neumann. Don't make a difference. You either got it and you understand it or you don't from a musical perspective. Sometimes equipment can just add that little extra oomph to what you're trying to convey. That's all. So yeah, to your point, man, I don't get caught up in all that nonsensicalness. Armando. Okay. Rodney D, great explanation. Thank you, sir. B. Smith, I have to run, but B. Smith is on his way out. Everybody say so long. Have a good day, brother. And Rotation Radio, I'm just saying my 2i4 loses its zen because of the converters, but I agree. It depends on the artist with vocal control and without great interface, is a must have. Yeah. These are tools. Like the whole hate mail that I keep getting about the whole heritage of more and more. They're tools. There was a reason why I liked one over the other. Facility. Period. I've made music on lesser equipment. Good music on lesser equipment. So, it's what can you do? Do you have the facility to execute the ideas up here, out there through what you have? So that's what it gets down to as far as I'm concerned. Cornelius, I appreciate your knowledge, but bro, because although it's my hobby, I like, go professional in your information. Oh, thank you, sir. Thank you for saying that. I'm hoping that you do turn pro. You might want to look at some of the videos that I have done in the past about, taking your business to the next level. It is doable. So I would say that you should go to the channel and just, I've spoken on that topic more than once. So you're more than welcome. And I thank you for stopping by today. I appreciate you. Eric Summer says, does it sound like the hardware three-dimensional? I can't say. I haven't used it yet. I'm going to put it through its paces. I'll install the software and do a follow-up video with that. I do like the fact that it is sturdy. It seems like it's very well made, and that is to be expected from certain companies. And SSL, they're not going to chump themselves by putting some weak, flimsily made product on the market. They probably QC'd this thing before they brought it to the market because they knew that they were just entering into uncharted waters, and you don't want to, you say first impressions are often lasting. You want to make a good first impression. And they did. Like I said, that monitor knob feels real sturdy, man. And I can tell you honestly, on that Personus monitor station, I'm afraid that thing's going to snap off shortly. So, okay. Yeah, Quantity says you still have to perform no matter what you're using to learn and make it sound good. That's true. True. Yeah, so am I impressed? I would say yes. I am impressed. I'm going to do their installation of the software. Well, no, not software. Registration. And I'll report back. I'm going to see what the headroom is like on these preamps. They're supposed to be like the 4,000 preamps, legacy sound. Some people say it really adds an extra oomph to it, but I can tell you these pots feel really sturdy and strong though. They really do. So let's look at some. Okay. Cornelius, I purchased your Lewitt mic because of your preview. Lewitt is another company, man. I think with my approach to doing reviews of companies like that, as well as certain other companies that disagree with my perspective, is that if you have the money to play this game, you know, a lot of what you're doing has to go into research and development, period. And why would you design something that nobody wants? That's just absolutely a waste of money and crazy. If you're a business person, you're trying to lose money in business, or you're trying to turn a profit. So, you know, Lewitt, you know, if you go and you look at some of the videos on how they are vested in microphone technology, they're going to be the next big player in microphone tech. So I like companies like that. I love the underdog, you know. And in this case, SSL is an underdog. They make consoles. You know, they don't make interfaces. But let's see how good this thing sounds. I'm going to put it through its paces. You better believe that. Hold on. Appreciate that. All right. Mr. Smooth, you funny, brother. I personally have the Antelope audio converter. Where's for my... I want the SSL interface for different needs. Yeah, you got to have multiple irons in the fire, if you will. You know? And like I said, it looks nice, man. I'm looking at it now. I mean, you know, I'm a color coding type guy because I did have a British board before. I had an Allen and Heath. And color coding on a large board helps because you need to know in a pinch and maybe in not so great light, you know, in some studio situations, what's what. Of course, the EQs are coded a particular color, the aux senses and the returns are sends and the returns are coded a particular way, as are the mic pre's. So yeah, man, they did themselves well with this product, which is only a couple of $100, you know, and carefully positioned in terms of competition, positioned very well against a company like a Focusrite, who is one of the more dominant players in terms of offering varying products at that price point. You know, the 2i4, the 2i2, and things of that nature. So, yeah, man. Yeah, this looks pretty good. Mervin Riho, what's up, brother? Sean Holiday, I use my Sony 75. Okay. Yeah, so I'm impressed. SSL, you have done well. That rhymes. SSL, you have done well. Yeah, they've done well. Sturdy. The pots are sturdy. Very well made. Quality components. If the Neutrix are any indication on what as to what's on the inside, you know, showing on the outside, then yeah, this is a pretty decent piece of kit, you know. So I'll take a few more questions and comments, and then I will sign off because I do not want to keep you all too long. And the new voice says, I'm no pro by far, but to be honest, I guess if you pair that with a great preamp inline would do a great job. For example, the ISA. Yes, Tony Shepard said some time ago that any mic can sound great with a great preamp, and that's very true. I found that to be very true. You could take a $200 mic, put it on a Neve preamp, and it's going to sound great, you know, because the two are interacting in a particular way that's going to give you that goodness that you might be looking for. So, yes, to your point, I agree. And all right. Does it sound like the hardware? Oh, Eric Summer, I'm going to jump back to your question. Does it sound like the hardware? Like if you're asking about three-dimensional. I did do a little research into the sound quality. I won't be able to tell you firsthand until I actually put some sound through it. But I did hear these preamps, and I was kind of impressed. Like I said, I have a Focusrite interface to 2i4 right now on my laptop, you know, so I'm certainly going to put this side by side and just do some straight up vocal tests and let you know what they sound like. And you know, you could tell it's going to have that centered, focused sound. A good preamp will always sound that way, you know, no phasing and giving you this weird type of effect, you know, so we'll see. Yeah, so like I said, this has been good. I want to make sure I didn't miss anybody because sometimes I do that. Okay, Miss. All right, Armando, my brother. All right. Yeah. So listen. This has been good. Very well made. Not costing you youngsters a whole lot of money to get into the game, and you're getting in well, and you're getting a piece of kit that your favorite guy, CLA, uses on the regular. So, with that in mind, Sean Hollis said, will I do the... Sean, you got a good point, brother. You know what? I will. Because that is a very good way. Hey, you know what, Sean? I'm going to share a little story with you, man. Somebody emailed me, man, and said, oh, it's not... I must be a total noob. He goes to me, oh, I'm hearing reverb. Now, this is... I could tell the boy ain't never been inside of a studio. He ain't never used room mics a day in his life, right? Oh, that's not the room you're hearing. That's reverb. If you, for the drummers out there, if you ever put a room mic out in front of a drum kit, you'll know what I'm talking about. There's a delay. A delay that's not like the pre-delay that you have in a reverb unit, because pre-delay will give you that ba-ba type sound. But there's a delay, and then you get the actual tone of the room. Rooms do have tones that affect drums. I don't think any other instruments other than maybe a piano is as affected by the room as drums. Period. If you got a terrible room and you're trying to record drums, your drums, I don't care, you could have a Yamaha Maple custom kit, it will sound terrible. However, even if you have a Steinway Grand D in a bad room, it's going to sound less than liked because of the room. It has a tone, So, I'm not here. I'm like, listen. So, to your point, Sean, yes, I will do the Rosanna test, and it will tell me everything I need to know. That's a good idea, man. Thank you, sir. I will let you know what I think. Mervin, thank you for saying that, brother. I appreciate you. New voice. Let's see the LEDs. Listen, I'm going to do a follow-up on it. I promise you guys that. Turn it on already. I can't because I don't have my laptop and you have to install the software. Nowadays, most of these companies have a bridging software that goes in between the interface as well as the program that you're using. I don't know what that is. I've never used an SSL product on a laptop, so I will report back though. I promise you that much. Okay, and give you the skinny, if you will. Nick Flores, my brother, you a little late, Nick. I'm about to bounce, bro. But I do appreciate you being here. You can catch everything that you might want to see on the playback. But yeah, this has been good. I do like what I'm seeing. If you're looking to get into the SSL ecosystem because workflow matters, I don't think you can get in at a better price point with a better piece. And it's got some weight, man. It's got some weight. And like I said, the knobs feel very certain. They don't feel flimsy like on some equipment. They feel very certain and precise, So I'm gonna let you guys hear it. I'll post something by next week. I promise you that much. So, thanks for watching. Thanks for stopping by. Thanks for tuning in. For those of you who are new, if you haven't done so already, please, I'd love to have you as a subscriber. And don't forget to say hello to each and every one of your families for me. I appreciate you guys being here. Thanks a lot.